Jays, it's your girl Jay Linnell. Welcome back to the 12th Dimension podcast. I know I'm a little late with uploading the episodes, but I had some things going on in my personal life and I could not record. But I'm back yet again for another week. So let's start by clearing our energy. I have some Palo Santo today. So I'm just gonna light it and clear the energy around here. This week has been crazy. There's been so much going on mentally. My house has needed to be renovated. Things have needed to be done. I need to clean. Actually, after I finish recording, I am actually going to get on cleaning up because I have so much that I have to do. And it feels like I have so little time to do it. It feels like I can barely get anything done. And it's frustrating sometimes. But I am blessed nonetheless. A lot of people would love to be in my position to even be a homeowner and, you know, be able to fix up things on their home and stuff. So I'm blessed. I won't complain. I'll just roll with the punches. My headspace this week, you know, I have had mom on my mind as usual, as always, but I've been in a better headspace. I figure, you know, I'm just ready to like start knocking some goals down. I'm ready to start getting, again, like I said, things done around the house. I'm ready, just kind of ready to go full throttle with things that I've been kind of putting into the works for a while now. And I just feel like now is the best time to kind of get some stuff done because time is not waiting for me. It's not waiting for anybody. And I want shit done. So there's that. I probably won't keep the visuals for this video because I am not feeling the lighting right now. I am just not liking it. I don't know. Maybe it's what I'm wearing. Maybe it's the lighting. I don't know. I'm a Virgo, so that's my perfectionist stuff creeping in again. Like, if stuff's not right, I like it to be a certain way. So that's on me. But I have a lot of good things coming in store. I do have a guest coming for next week's episode. So hopefully we can get that recorded and get that put out. And I'm really excited about it. I'm ready to start, you know, really getting this podcast off the ground and taking things seriously the way that I need to take them serious. And I don't know, I'm ready. I'm ready. The fear is leaving a bit, though. I mean, it's not like a lot of people watching the videos right now, and that's fine, you know, but I'm getting used to putting the content out there. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna, you know, be better with editing, be better with everything, you know, and that comes with the podcast and being comfortable with hearing my voice, being comfortable with, you know, with seeing myself on camera and, you know, even when the moments aren't perfect. So I'm getting there. I got my little wine with me today. So I'm drinking. And I have my little lunar moon, my little alien lunar moon, who I love so much. My little stuffed alien. It's so funny. I actually won a lunar moon in one of those little catch grab things that you have at like the arcade games and stuff like that. That's how I found my little alien friend. And yeah. So don't forget about lunar moon, you guys. She's part of the podcast. So for today's topic, it's going to be about vulnerability, like being vulnerable and how it can heal you and what it has done for myself. I'm usually the type of person where I wouldn't necessarily call myself secretive, but I'm not really gonna put all my information out there. It's only like a handful of people, even if a full hand, that really knows like my inner, that really knows me, that knows, you know, what makes me sad, what makes me happy, what makes me, you know, tick, you know, different things like that. So it's only people who are like in my inner circle who really know me, who can kind of like vouch for the person that I am. You know what I'm saying? Who like really, really know me. But lately, and especially after, you know, mom's death, I feel like I've become I feel like I've been forced to be vulnerable in a lot of ways. Like, when I was in Jamaica, for example, I cried about mom, and I cried, of course, in front of my cousin. My cousin seen me cry before, but there was other ladies there, and, you know, I cried in front of them, and that's not something that I usually do. That's not something that I'm like super comfortable with. I don't like showing my emotions to everybody, although I am a crybaby. Like, anybody who really knows me, they know that I'm a crybaby. If I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. But, you know, people who are like, who don't know me or who are on the outside looking in, they wouldn't know that about myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always a certain way. Like, when people would know me, a lot of people would actually used to think I was mean, because I mean, I was a little mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, especially like in my like teenagers, early 20s, I was mean as hell, you know, like, but that's just because I had my own inner things that I was, you know, going through, things that I was battling as a child, and, you know, all of that. So that made me a little mean. So, you know, that's what I would show to people a lot of times when I was younger. And it took a couple of years for me to have to kind of get rid of that mean name. And it's not that, you know, people thought I was a bad person or anything, but people just were like, oh yeah, Jasmine's not for that. She's like, she's not about, you know, she's not for the game, she's not for the bull, which is still true. But, you know, it was so much more to me. And it was like, you know, I used to get offended, like when I would, people say like, you're gonna snap out, you're gonna get upset, you're gonna get mad, you know what I'm saying? And I would be like, dang, like, it's so much more to me. I'm not just this angry person. I'm not just, you know what I'm saying, this, like, who you're seeing right now. Like, I have layers. Like, I always say, I remind myself like of an onion or like a fucking biscuit. And it's because there's literally layers to me. You peel one layer back, it's something else. You pull the other layer back, it's something else. Like, literally, it's layers to me. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes when somebody might meet me at first, they won't get all those layers. They're just going to get what I'm showing them at that moment. And I kind of went through life like doing that a lot. You know, people only knew what I wanted them to know, only seen sides of me that I wanted them to see. So it was like, you know, I would see not even shock on people's faces, but looks on people's faces when they would see other parts and be like, oh, she's actually sweet. She likes this kind of music. She's nice. She's, you know what I'm saying? Because I was always a certain way. But I'm saying all that to say this, like, I wasn't used to showing people the vulnerable side of me. The angry side was cool, because I was like, okay, I don't take no mess, and that's what y'all gonna know. But they didn't get a chance to see me when I'm hurting, or like, you know, when I'm feeling intense emotions, because I'm a very emotional person. Everything I feel deeply, whether it's anger, sadness, whatever it is, whatever emotion, I can feel that motherfucker to the max. And, you know, it's a blessing and a curse, you know, in certain ways. But anyways, you know, I felt like people were writing my story for me, writing my personality for me, per se, just because I was scared to be vulnerable and open up, and, you know what I'm saying, like, let people see the inner me, you know. I realized that even in relationships, I really kind of was like that too. It wasn't until the relationship that I am in now that I started showing those vulnerable moments and showing like those points. And I, like, again, you know, I never showed those things before, so it was it's still a little uncomfortable for me, like opening up, or even like if, you know, everybody's sharing like secrets or things that hurt them, or just things like, I don't call it ego, maybe that's the ego, you know, thing or whatever. But I'm always like, yeah, I'm not telling everybody my business. They don't need to know this about me. They don't, you know, like, I'm fine. Like, but I realize it's a certain power and vulnerability. Like, even when I cried in Jamaica, it felt like, for me, it felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. I was like if it was a foreign feeling that I never felt, because I don't open up. So it was like, by me opening up to people in that way, it felt like relieving. It felt foreign. It felt good. It felt good. Overall, it did feel good. It was super uncomfortable, but I feel like the people who were there were able to see me for who I am. You know, like instead of just being one way, they were able to see like, damn, this bitch has emotions. She's actually a deep person. And, you know, so that felt good with doing that. And I realized that even with like the podcast and even with certain things, being vulnerable is healing to me. And that's so crazy to say, because I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not about to go like shoot my business from the mountaintops or go run on a fucking press conference or anything like that. But it's just like those little moments where you can kind of let yourself be vulnerable without having to worry about judgment or even caring about if somebody's gonna judge you or how they're gonna feel about, you know, your vulnerable moment. It kind of changes things and it puts things into perspective. You know, I've always, I don't know, it's hard when you kind of grow up and you're not really used to showing a lot of emotions, like especially like as a child. I didn't show a lot of emotions besides anger. Even in my household, there was a lot of anger. You know what I'm saying? So that that was the emotion that I was able to display. Let's just put it like that. That's something that I had no problem, you know, letting be known or displaying. But it's more power displaying your weaknesses. And I'm not saying let your enemy know your weaknesses. Of course, don't ever do that shit. You know what I'm saying? But the people who are around you can show them, hey, this thing hurts me, or this thing, it kind of makes you a human, you know? And sometimes when people see you one way, it's almost like how they see celebrities. You know, before like social media now and stuff like that, like, you know, you could only see your favorite celebrity on the music video, or like if they did an interview with someone, but you only knew them in that one way. You know, they could be at home like terrorizing people, like terrorizing their family and like, you know, just like, oh, really fucking horrible person. But I thought I heard something. But they're making nice love songs and music and shit like that, you know? So it's just crazy to think about. So, you know, it's just crazy, you know, people can literally, and they will literally write your story, you know what I'm saying? Or write your personality, or write who they think you are, if you don't, you know, allow those moments to, you know, be seen or be heard. Again, like I said, you know, be careful who you're vulnerable with. I'm not saying be vulnerable with everybody and leave yourself open. Of course, always protect your energy, always protect yourself, always protect your mental, you know. But you know, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable from time to time. And I know people who have Scorpio placements or Capricorn placements or even Virgo placements where it might be a little difficult to open up and to be vulnerable and to let people know your inner, you know. But there's power in that. There is power in that, and there's healing in that, and you'll be okay. And you know, when you talk about it, you heal, because the things that when you're afraid to be vulnerable, you're holding that shit in. And when you're holding it in, I mean, it's building up, it's getting worse, like whatever you're going through. If it's something, you know, serious and you're going through something, it's building up, you're getting worse, and you're putting yourself through a mental hell because you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, when all reality, you didn't, you know, give yourself anybody to talk to. You didn't open up, you didn't, you know. And that's something that, you know, I had to learn about myself. I could say, you know, I have no one to talk to, or, you know, there's no one to call on or something like that. But the reality is, you have to be vulnerable. You have to let people in. You have to be able to, you know, open up. But I do get, like I said, it's a double-edged sword, because I've been hurt. Like by friends, you know, people that I take in as family, you know, I've been hurt. One girl full-blown robbed my house when I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And so if that wasn't vulnerable, I don't know what was. But, you know, you can't let those moments define. You have to have discernment, know who you can be vulnerable with, know who you can trust, you know yourself, and know your circle, for real. you know. And once you know your circle and you have a tribe going, being vulnerable is a beautiful thing. It feels damn good, you know, to be able to be vulnerable with some people, even being vulnerable, telling people that you love them. A lot of people struggle, you know, with even saying, hey, I love you, or giving hugs, you know, because they weren't given hugs, or, you know, or they're scared to get hurt by people and things like that. So, you know, it's just being vulnerable is, I think that's the start to healing. I do. It was something that I have been thinking on for a couple of days, because I'm like, damn, you know, opening. I'm so used to people, like even like females, for example, you know, sometimes, you know, as a pretty woman, or even as a woman in general, if you know, with things, or, you know, you never know what somebody is envious of, right? And I would, like, a part of the reason that I didn't want to open up is because I'm like, okay, well, if this person is envious or jealous, they'll do something to hurt me, or they'll laugh at my pain, or they'll think it's funny, you know, what I'm going through, or funny that I'm hurting. And I know that sounds so crazy, but, you know, there are people like that in the world who will literally be happy that you're struggling or going through shit, or like having a hard bout in life. Like, it'll literally be people like that, you know. But the thing is, fuck them. This is for you. This is for your healing. And I'm telling myself this too. This is for myself. This is for my healing. It's not anybody else. And if they do decide to laugh at my pain or struggle or whatever in my moment of vulnerability, karma's gonna come back around. Karma circles. You never think that, you know, that something can't happen to you. That's my motto. Don't ever think that you're up on a high enough horse that something can't happen to you, or that, you know, you're laughing at somebody's pain, that it won't be you the next day, because it damn sure will, you know. So I don't know, that a lot of those reasons, and again, that could be very much the ego mind, very much, you know. So it's power and vulnerability, and I hope that somebody who is out there like me, who, you know, who are scared to open up because of people, they think people may laugh, or they've had experiences where people did laugh or hurt them from being vulnerable, then, you know, you can kind of heal through me and through that. So yeah, that's all I have for my topic today. Now we're going to get into our supernatural. So for today's supernatural segment, I'm actually going to talk about a situation when I was younger that I experienced. Okay, so growing up, I always could see spirits, ghosts, and if I couldn't see them, then I could hear them, dreams, whatever, you know. So this particular day, I'd say I was about 13 years old when this happened. And I always was afraid to go in the basement to wash clothes or do, you know, I just didn't like basements. It's so funny that I actually can go in my basement now, because I used to hate basements, especially as a kid. So we had this one house when I was about 13. And my mother's husband at the time, he asked me to go get something out of the basement. I think I had to get some clothes out of the dryer or something like that. And I looked to my sister and I go, well, yeah, you go do it, you know. And he looks at me, he's like, I asked you to do it. And I'm like, fuck, like, you know, I'm scared of the basement. Like, why are you asking me to go down there? Like, you know, I'm petrified, you know. So I'm like, fine. I literally run downstairs and I'm like trying to hurry up and like throw the clothes like in the laundry basket, because I'm like really freaked out. I feel the hairs on the back of my neck literally raising up. And I'm like, oh, here it goes. Like, whatever it is looking at me. Like, I can feel it, because when you can literally feel these things. So I'm like, oh my God, like I feel it. I know it's here with me. So I'm like, oh my God, like, let me hurry up. So I throw the clothes in the basket and I hurry up, and I'm trying to take off upstairs. I'm crying, full blown tears. And I'm running up the basement steps. I feel like something is behind me. So by the time I get to the top steps, I hear my own footsteps. Boop, boop. I touch the top step. After I stop, I hear other footsteps behind me running up the steps, and they stopped after me. I heard the footsteps after my own footsteps stopped. That freaked me out. I mean, I was crying, full-blown tears. I'm screaming. I'm like, that was the worst thing ever. And her husband at the time, he goes, "Oh my God, you're really scared." Like, yeah, no shit. He's like, "You're really scared. I'm never gonna send you into the basement by yourself again. And, you know, I'm so sorry, and this and that." And I'm like, I told you, like, you know, but that's the result of nobody being able to see things in the house but you. People probably, you know, he probably did think I was, you know, playing around at first. But yeah, it was really freaking scary. And, you know, a lot of the houses that I lived in had a lot of little supernatural events like that happened. But yeah, that was one of many that I will share on the podcast. So don't forget, if you want your supernatural segment, or if you have a supernatural story, that you want to be read on the supernatural segment, you can send it in to 12dimension@gmail.com, and make sure you put in the subject line supernatural, so that way I can put it into its respective categories and you can have it read on the show. I don't have a journal entry for today. And I'm like running around like crazy, so please forgive me. This episode won't have a journal entry, but I promise you the next one will. And yeah, so this is kind of a rush episode, so forgive me, you guys. But I have company downstairs. They just walked in the house. I could hear them downstairs. I have to hurry up. And if you guys do want a journal and your journal entry read, don't forget you can send that in to 12dimension@gmail.com, and make sure you put journal entry in the subject line, so that I can put that into its respective category and read it on the podcast. You can listen to me anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. So that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube for the visuals if you'd like. You can follow, subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow my Patreon, subscribe to my Patreon, where we will do Zoom meetings, exclusive giveaways, and have fun over there. You know, we're uncensored over there. We can do what we want. Yeah, so you can also check out 12dimension.com, and I will see you guys on the next episode. I thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.